A build whose heyday was back in Lord of Destruction, one that many played and can crush all of Sanctuary without much of a second thought. Many played it with a lot of endgame gear, but how well would it actually hold up as a budget build? In today's video, I'm going to go over the build for the budget Whirlwind Barbarian, particularly one that you can magic find with without sacrificing good clear speed, and not needing high-end gear to be able to do so. I'm going to go over the attributes, the skill tree, the gear for my character and my mercenary, and afterwards I'm going to show you guys some gameplay so you could see this build in action. But do keep in mind that when it comes to this build, there are different ways you can be able to gear the character depending on your needs, whether you're trying to go for maximum DPS, you're trying to do a magic find character, or a hybrid of the two. Just keep in mind when it comes to looking at the gear choices that I'm going to be choosing, that you can choose alternative gear depending on the demand that you have for your build. Before we actually get into the build, the comment shout out for this video is going to be Phil L for all of his help with explaining why one of the items I'll be using in this video is more ideal compared to the alternatives that I had in mind, as I had no idea what to use with the budgeted version of this build, and his suggestion really helped me out. Thank you very much, Phil. The insight and suggestion is really appreciated. Now let's go ahead and get into the video. For the attributes, we're going for a max vitality setup, meaning we have enough points into strength and dexterity to be able to equip the gear, and the remaining points are put into vitality, nothing into energy. For the skill trees, starting with the Warcry skill tree, I initially put 1 point into Howl, 1 point into Shout, 1 point into Battle Command, then maxing Battle Orders to increase our health, and then max Battle Command as it synergizes Battle Orders. And because this is a Magic Find build instead of just leveling, we have 1 point into Find Potion and Find Item. You can work your way down to Battle Cry if you want help with decreasing your enemy's defenses, but it isn't necessary for the build to work, but a good option if desired. Moving on to the Combat Mastery skill tree, I'm maxing out Sword Mastery since we are using swords with this build, then 1 point initially into increased stamina, increased speed, Iron Skin, and natural resistance. Now for the Combat skill tree, we are putting 1 point into all the skills leading to Whirlwind, maxing Whirlwind out. We also have 1 point into Berserk to be able to deal with physical immunes as well as single targets without burning through mana. Now, there are going to be some extra skill points. You can choose where they go depending on the demand of your build. If you need help with resistances, put points into natural resistance. Again, you can put points into Battle Cry if you would like. You can continue buffing Battle Orders with more points in Shout. You can boost Find Item with more points into Find Potion, as many have let me know where to buff Find Item. You could put points into Frenzy for the boost to running around after a few successful hits. There are a lot of options to choose from, again depending on the demand that you have for your build. My remaining points went into Berserk to be able to increase its overall damage, especially against those that are again physically immune, or to be able to take on enemies one-on-one to save myself mana in the long run. For the gear, starting from the top, because this is a Magic Find build, I'm using my Shaco socketed with a perfect Topaz for increased Magic Find, plus to skills, and boost to life and mana, and lastly, the damage reduction. The amulet is Saracen's Chance for the boost to attributes and resistances. However, the better choice would be pairing the amulet and ring for the angelic set to be able to boost our attack rating even more. The body armor is Treachery for the IAS boost, Fade proc, and cold resistance. For the first weapon, I'm using Azarath for the Sanctuary aura, as this build is mostly centered around farming Chaos Sanctuary, and this aura both knocks back the undead for crowd control, but also removes their physical immunity, making the damage being dealt to them do more overall. It also has plus to skills, adds cold and magic damage for more variety in the damage being dealt, and has socketed it with an Eth rune for the negative 25% to target defense. For the second sword, I'm using the Runeward Oath in an Ethereal Colossus Blade for the better base damage compared to a Phase Blade, as well as the lower requirements using an Ethereal version as it comes with the Indestructible mod, but also the large boost to IAS, enhanced damage, additional damage to demons, and any additional help with energy is welcome, as this build is quite mana hungry. The boots are rare faster runwalk boots with dual res and some magic find. The first ring is a rare ring with life leech and dual res, everything else on it is just a bonus. The belt is Triangle's belt for the Cannot Be Frozen, and a good boost to life and mana. The second ring is one of my favorite melee rings that I've ever found. It has 100 attack rating, dual leech, life, mana, and some poison res, only wishing that it rolled with fire or lightning res instead. This might not look like a budget item, but you can find these when it comes to farming all over the game when it comes to health difficulty, or you could get lucky and potentially gamble this item. The gloves are crafted blood gloves for the dual leech, crushing blow, and IAS. On Switch, I'm going to be using the Runeward Harmony to be able to get around faster without investing points into Frenzy to be able to do so. In the inventory, I have my cube, both tomes. The small charms all have assorted resistance, attack rating, life, magic find, and max damage, and the grand charm is a Geeds for magic find. Looking over the additional stats, this build has 13% life leech, 9% mana leech, over 200% magic find, as well as 450% damage to the undead, which is ideal for where this build is going to be primarily focused on. the River Flame all the way through the Chaos Sanctuary leading up to Diablo. For the Mercenary, he is the Act 2 Mercenary with the Might Aura to be able to increase our damage output. For his helm, he's using a Vamp Gaze for the Life Leech as well as a physical damage reduction. The body armor is Treachery for the IAS boost, Fade proc, and faster hit recovery. And the weapon is Reaper's Toll for the Decrepify proc to slow down and lower the physical resistances of those not physically immune, particularly those that are not affected by the Sanctuary Aura. This way we get the physical reduction for almost anything we would fight to be able to have our damage go farther and do more overall to help our clear speed. However, you can use the Act 5 Frenzy Mercenary, same helm and armor, but you could use Lawbringer for the Decrepify proc as the Merc is very aggressive and can proc it quite easily, as well as it also has the Sanctuary Aura, so both you and your Mercenary would be providing good crowd control for the undead. All you would need to do is give him a good sword option, such as possibly another Oath to help him deal damage with you. This is arguably a more budgeted Mercenary version than the Act 2 Mercenary option, as many could argue that Reaper's Toll isn't budget, but that would be completely up to you on what you would decide to use. Now that we've discussed the attributes, the skill trees, the gear for my character and my Mercenary, let's go ahead and check out this build in action to see how well it actually plays out. This build gets the best of both worlds when fighting demons and undead. The Sanctuary Aura removes the physical immunes of the undead, providing good crowd control, and also has our physical damage go farther to kill the undead. Then with the Decrepify proc for demons, it lowers their physical immunity that aren't physically immune, as well as slows them down, again providing good crowd control and making our damage do more overall. For Grayling, you won't get better drop odds for going on a higher player setting, so for farming, Players 1 is more ideal. This build's strength is in fighting more small to medium-sized groups to not be overwhelmed by the damage being done to us. When it comes to fighting mobs with demons, before the Decrepify proc would go off with the Mercenary, it's important to stay away from whirlwinding through the entire group and to stay more toward the outside enemies to not take more damage than you'd be able to leech back, as you won't be able to use potions when whirlwinding. But once Decrepify goes off, I focused on those affected as I could take advantage of their slowed speed and reduce physical immunities, allowing for a lot quicker kills. When not using Harmony to run through areas quicker, Leap Attack is great for getting over gaps quickly, or to hop over large mobs. I first dragged them away from him, then I focused on him to be able to get rid of the Fanaticism aura, and after that, his minions were very easy to kill.
I can't carry anymore.
If anything was to be physically immune, using Berserk would kill them in a matter of a few hits. Then you can go back to using Whirlwind. Diablo can be killed without the Decrepify proc from your Mercenary, but if you can use it,
do it! Make your dreams come true!
It took a bit to get it to proc, but once it did, with managing my mana, he ended up going down without much trouble. This budget build is fun to play for those wanting a change of scenery and a challenge in managing different aspects of playstyle at the same time. But if you're more interested in the endgame version that just completely annihilates everything in this path with no effort at all, check out my endgame version of this build that is self-sustaining for health and mana, has high magic find, and even higher damage that just completely wrecks Sanctuary, especially the Chaos Sanctuary. Link down in the description below. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and were able to see if this build would be something that you would be interested in going into the future. And if anything, at least just enjoyed the video. If you like this kind of content, want to see more, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video comes out.
Come on. Come on. Come on, then. There you are. There you are.
And if you like this video, please let me know by leaving a like. It really is appreciated to be able to help my channel to grow. And if you want to see more of my Diablo 2 Resurrected content, make sure to click the card in the corner up above to check out my Diablo 2 Resurrected playlist with a lot of videos already in it, with a lot more coming in the very near future. Other than that, I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.